Once upon a time, in a bustling kingdom where noise never ceased and the people seemed to chatter endlessly, there lived a wise old philosopher named Zeno. Zeno was not just any philosopher. He was the founder of a powerful way of thinking known as Stoicism. He had grown weary of the constant noise and the hasty words that filled the air of his village, and he often wondered aloud to himself, what if silence, sweet silence, could speak louder than all this mindless chatter? One day, Zeno decided to embark on a journey to remind the people of his kingdom about the lost art of silence. He believed that silence could be a powerful tool, not just to save face when your foot's stuck in your mouth, but to gain wisdom and inner strength. So he gathered a group of eager travelers, ready to learn his ways, and they set off on an adventure. As they trekked through the kingdom, the group came across a village elder known for his harsh critiques. "Why are you walking so slow? Why do you carry such heavy bags? Don't you know anything?" he bellowed at the travelers. One of Zeno's companions, a young man named Marcus, clenched his fists ready to snap back, but Zeno put a hand on his shoulder. "Marcus," said Zeno, "remember what I've taught you. When unfairly criticized, say nothing. Use your silence as armor." Marcus paused, took a deep breath, and silently nodded. The elder, baffled by Marcus's calm response, eventually ran out of steam and wandered off. "See," Zeno said with a grin, "it's better to trip over your own feet than your tongue. Silence has saved you from looking like a fool." Marcus smiled. "You're right, master. I'll remember that next time my boss complains about my work." The next day, they reached a grand marketplace where a loud merchant was bragging to anyone who would listen. "I sold 10 carts of wheat this morning. I'm the richest man in the land," he exclaimed. One of the travelers, a humble baker, was tempted to chime in with his own successes, but Zeno stopped him. "Why boast when you can just listen?" he whispered. "Let others reveal their vanity, and you can save your breath. After all, silence speaks of quiet confidence." The baker, intrigued, smiled and said nothing. As the merchant continued his one-man show, the baker's calm demeanor attracted more attention than the merchant's boisterous tales. People admired his quiet confidence and flocked to buy bread from him instead. Zeno chuckled. "See, silence can make you richer in more ways than one." Not long after, a storm blew in, and the travelers sought shelter in a nearby inn. The innkeeper, frazzled from the storm, spilled a tray of soup all over Zeno. "You old fool!" she shouted. "Why are you sitting right there? Now I have to clean this mess." Zeno's companions gasped, expecting him to lash out, but instead, Zeno wiped the soup from his robe and smiled. "Anger," he said calmly, "is a storm worse than this one. But silence, dear friends, is the eye of that storm." The innkeeper, startled by his peaceful response, apologized profusely. Zeno winked at his companions. "Had I yelled back, we'd be in a shouting match right now. But instead, I'll just let my silence settle things." As the storm passed, the group arrived at a small town buzzing with gossip. A schoolteacher had been wrongly accused of theft. Despite the rumors, the teacher said nothing in her defense. Zeno's companions were confused. "Why doesn't she say anything? She should defend herself." Zeno shook his head. "Ah, but she knows something we don't. Words only feed rumors, but silence lets them wither. She is choosing to let her character speak instead." Sure enough, as time passed, the rumors died down when no proof of the crime appeared. The teacher's dignity remained intact, and the townspeople admired her even more. "See," Zeno said with a grin, "silence can be your best defense when the winds of gossip blow." The travelers continued their journey and soon encountered an old woman weeping at the loss of her beloved dog. One of the travelers, a kind-hearted soul, rushed to offer comforting words, but Zeno gently stopped her. "Grief is a silence all its own," Zeno whispered. "Sometimes the best comfort is simply being present in the quiet." They sat beside the old woman, offering their company without saying a word. Slowly, the old woman began to smile through her tears. "Thank you," she said softly. "Your silence has given me more peace than words ever could." The traveler turned to Zeno and nodded, I understand now, in silence we can truly be there for others. Later, they came upon a scholar boasting about his knowledge of the stars, though it was clear to everyone that he didn't know a thing about astronomy. The travelers rolled their eyes, tempted to correct him, but Zeno held them back. "Why waste your words on ignorance?" he asked. "Let people believe what they want. Silence is sometimes the wisest response." As they walked away, the scholar continued his nonsensical lecture to a crowd that quickly grew bored and left. "See," Zeno said, chuckling. "He'll be left talking to the wind soon enough." Further along their path, Zeno and his travelers heard of a brave woman fighting for environmental change who was the target of false rumors. The travelers were outraged on her behalf, but Zeno remained calm. "She is smart," Zeno said. "Instead of fighting the rumors, she lets her actions do the talking. The best revenge, as Marcus Aurelius said, is to be unlike those who hurt you." The woman continued her work undeterred, and soon the rumors faded as her actions spoke louder than any gossip. The travelers soon arrived at the capital, where a protest was underway against a corrupt official. Some were shouting angrily, while others stood silently holding signs. Zeno smiled at the silent protesters. "See those quiet ones? They are the true Stoics. They understand that silence, when faced with injustice, is not weakness, it's strength." Nelson Mandela once said, "Silence can prepare us for real change." As the officials tried to incite the crowd, the silent protesters remained calm, their stillness a stark contrast to the chaos. And in the end, it was their quiet dignity that captured the kingdom's attention. Finally, the group returned to their village, where a notorious troublemaker was busy insulting anyone in his path. "Look at you ragged travelers," he jeered. "What wisdom could you possibly bring back?" The travelers turned to Zeno expecting a sharp retort, but Zeno merely smiled. "When insulted," he said softly, "silence is the best reply. For if someone succeeds in provoking you, your mind is complicit." They walked on, leaving the troublemaker talking to himself. The villagers, witnessing Zeno's composure, nodded in admiration. "Silence," Zeno said, "is the sound of wisdom." And so, Zeno and his companions completed their journey, having learned that silence was indeed a powerful force, far stronger than words. Whether in the face of unfair criticism, grief, gossip, or even insults, the quiet strength of Stoicism guided them toward a life of peace, wisdom, and understanding. As they settled back into their noisy village, Zeno smiled to himself. He may not have stopped the endless chatter, but he had taught his companions a secret far greater, that sometimes the wisest thing you can say is nothing at all. If you have gained any knowledge from this lesson, please comment, like and subscribe for more great Stoic adventures and stories like this one. Now go be silent and peaceful. See you again on our next journey. Good day and God bless.